going to be talking to Dr. Zinser today about rapid prototype anatomicals, the process, the product, and information about Dr. Zinser and how he's an authority in this field. Dr. Zinser, what kind of reputation do you have among your colleagues?
Amongst my colleagues in this area, I've been in practice approximately 40 years. I believe I'm probably one of the old senior chiropractors who I enjoy new materials, pioneering new materials, leaving the box to find new ways, new and better ways of healing.
Great, thank you. What are two professional abilities or talents that you're best known for?
The best talents, of course, is my own chiropractic profession, which is many hours of study and classes, but also the second field of study that I really truly enjoy, that in my early career we didn't have this availability of information, but with new technology we now have this, and that's studying the crashes of human people, of what happens to them in the cabin of a vehicle that we never ever realized or thought about years ago. Well, that information is now available and becoming more available, and realizing the long-term risks and consequences that people have suffered but have been left untreated.
Can you tell us more about that crash technology?
The crash technology, it incorporates a lot of Newton's laws and studies which we never considered before. We always thought, well, the more rigid a car is, the tougher the car is, the safer. However, the more rigid the car is and was in those days, it allowed the occupant to be bounced around inside of the cabin. The cars we have today are actually better because they're crushable. It sounds a little silly, but they're crushable. But in that crush syndrome, that car is allowed to lose its momentum and forces that would traumatically be induced into the occupant of the automobile.
So new cars absorb the energy in the crash and in that way protect the occupant from absorbing the energy and sustaining an injury?
Yes, that'd be correct. The momentum of the vehicle and the speeds are allowed to be arrested in the crushability of the front of the automobile, for instance, before it gets into the cabin where the occupant is. Yes.
Is that a study that many chiropractors undertake today?
Many chiropractors do not undertake this goal. I've been studying this and classing this for approximately 8 years, if not more. And I've actually affiliated and helped in actual crashes where we've actually used human volunteers that were kind enough to allow these studies to go on. These films and tapes are sent all over the world, and it allows a professional to better understand what has happened to his patient and why his patient might not be getting well, or why his patient has relapses. But it's not a routine study. It's a study that you have to think everyone as being individuals and every crash as being a separate individual crash.
Can you tell us about your certificates and licenses?
I'm licensed in 3 states. I've been licensed in 3 states for quite some time. The certifications are very numerous. Many of them are hanging on my wall here, but probably approximately only 40% of them are. I'm an industrious fellow, and I've enjoyed studying and learning beyond other people when they're willing to quit. I want to understand why things happen and what happens to the body. How can we improve it? How can we make society better and safer? And these are done through work and thoughts. I use the premise, if we never dared, then there would be no airplanes. You would believe you couldn't fly. If we never dared, DNA would still be a joke. There's a lot of learning goes on, and it's not built for the lazy.
How does that follow over into the care that you give your patients?
It better allows me to understand their care that I give to my patients and where I initiate the work, when I begin to work, when is the good time to begin the therapy, at what time do you begin the therapy, at what part of the healing mode do you consider releasing that patient and restudy them. There's 3 primary modes that we all learn and are supposed to remember, and that is the acute phase of 3. What happened? How do they hurt? Why do you hurt? The next one is the remodeling. And the remodeling phase and rejuvenation phase, this is where the healing is actually going on. And you have the privilege of feeling a little bit of pain with it, so you allow normal, natural healing to be protected. The very last stage of it is, as already mentioned, is the remodeling phase. That's when the innate ability of the human body does its best healing and understands how to heal. But it's also the most dangerous time for the patient because they feel good and they want to do more. And there's always that ability they're going to irritate and slow that function of healing up.
Do you have a motto that you live by or that your practice upholds?
Yes, I do. Yes, I do. Wake up early, work like hell, and all else comes.
Do you have a favorite quote that you live by?
Yes, as several. This was from Dr. B.J. Palmer, the founder of chiropractic. He said, sharing and helping is if you have a candle and you help people by lighting more light, you'll never lose your own light.
Dr. Zinser, your practice is based out of Peoria in central Illinois.
Correct.
And Kickapoo. What do you like about where you live and where you practice?
I was born and raised in a community of less than 100 people in a little town called Kickapoo. But it's very favoring to me because it allows me to work with the working man, understand the working man, understand from ground up how something is built, how something is made, and also understanding as a human being on this earth you have certain responsibilities, and that is to help, to share, and yes, you're entitled for payment, but also to help and share and do it in an honest way and try your darndest to follow absolute 10 first basic laws. And they were not a sort of be, could be, kind of, it will. The laws were, you will not.